College and entrance exams, a stressful time of year for parents of high schoolers prepping for a college future. As our children get ready for the big test, many of us parents are wondering, what can we do to help them get ahead? Well, joining us today is Dr. Michael Youmans, a Harvard grad, an Oxford grad, a college prep expert in the fields. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have so much to talk about. First of all, why is it so competitive to get into college these days?
Well, essentially, the answer is it's a numbers game. Applications are up. A recent article said that Harvard's admissions is up 15% from last year. They will receive 35,000 applications this year. So it's simply a numbers game. There's more kids applying to school and more qualified kids applying to school, so it makes it more competitive.
All right, so how do we give our kids the edge? Well, you have 3 tips.
That's right. There's 3 categories of tips. Essentially,
the first one is?
The first one is grades and the course of study.
All right.
So college admissions officers want to see the most rigorous curriculum available to the student. So I get calls all the time from parents. Is it really important that they take AP classes or honors classes? The answer is emphatically yes, it is. AP classes are very impressive to admissions committee, and so are honors classes. And then, of course, the grades that you get in those courses is very important. So parents, what you can do, of course, is encourage your kids to study hard, get the best grades they can. If they need extra help in the form of tutoring or study skills classes, you can avail yourselves of those services.
And you really have to start very early. In 9th grade, that's it.
Correct. In 9th grade, you need to start planning your whole college admissions plan, from not just in grades, but in terms of your extracurricular activities. It's very important to show admissions committees that you're passionate about what you do extracurricularly. They're looking for depth as opposed to breadth. So you can't just waltz on to the newspaper and become editor in your junior year if you didn't pay your dues as a reporter in 9th grade.
All right, and the second tip is scores.
Scores. Standardized test scores are important. I think it's a shame. I personally don't think they measure anything worth measuring. They certainly, kids out there, don't tell you how smart you are. If you're somebody who has your academic self-esteem tied up in scores, get rid of that notion. They do not tell you how smart you are. However, they do count a lot because
they do weigh
the reason they count so much is a simple business decision. If you're running a university, we have 35,000 applications and you only have 1,600 beds, you need a way to lop off 20,000 of those applications. You can't pay admissions officers their salaries to adjudicate 35,000 applications. So enter SATs and ACTs.
And ACTs. And that is something that everybody should be taking, both SATs and ACTs.
Great point. Today is a totally different environment from when we were going through the system, when everybody on the East Coast and Connecticut would take the SATs. We didn't even hear the ACTs. That's something they did in the Midwest and in the South. Now with the global village, everybody looking for the competitive edge will take both. Why? Because the rules have changed. You do not have to send all of your standardized test scores to colleges. When we took them, they automatically went.
That's true.
So you take both now, and you tell them only about the one you did better in. The other one,
which is what you want anyway. You want to give the best score.
Of course.
You want to look good.
And not only that, it really helps students manage the stress and anxiety around it. I don't know if you're familiar with the Race to Nowhere movie that's flying around the country and the pressure we're putting on our kids. One of the best things you can tell a kid is this test doesn't necessarily count. I was a classroom teacher for 20 years, and the most popular announcement I would make is this is going to be a freebie test. If it raises your average, good, it goes in the book. If it lowers your average, it never happened. That's what the SATs and the ACTs have become in this era.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. It is good news. All right, application.
Yes.
Really important, because this is where you get to shine.
Absolutely. It's not only where you get to shine, but it's the only way admissions committees get to know you. Even if you're lucky enough to have a campus or an alumni interview, that interviewer typically is not on the admissions committee at 11:30 the night before the decisions are due. What is, there's a piece of paper in your file. You only interface with admissions committees through your application materials. So many students, I find, short shrift the actual application. It's arguably the most important piece. So parents, it's really important that you are talking with your school's guidance counselor. If you don't have one that works well with you or your child, get a professional to help you. But those essays need to sparkle and jump off the page. Your short answer questions need to be on point. Your list of extracurricular needs to be well thought out and well written.
And for somebody who's just starting high school now, this is
Yes.
the time to really build that. Make sure you do something in the summer. Don't be sitting around.
Right. Well, summer experiences are definitely something that appear on your applications, and it can be as lifeguarding. I worked with a boy this year who wrote a great essay on all the things that he learned outside of the world of lifeguarding as a lifeguard. A great essay, and showed responsibility and a work ethic, taking summer classes, traveling, practicing an instrument if you play. I mean, but be productive. Your point's well taken.
Exactly.
Don't sit there and watch TV and play video games.
Because they're not. Because the admissions board is not going to like that. They see, well, you didn't do anything that summer.
Absolutely.
They want you to be doing something productive. All right. What can kids do to really manage the stress? As we all know, the stress is on them.
Very stressful. Well, the most important thing, I think, is knowledge. Forewarned is forearmed, and it's particularly true in the college admissions game. There is just so much. Really, the game begins with the PSATs, junior year, October, and it's usually a slap in the face. Kids don't really know what's coming, and even if they do, they're not well prepared for it. I always tell my students, you want to do as well in the PSATs as you possibly can. Why? Because it will set a bar. Almost no one goes down from their PSAT, so I ask them, how high do you want to set that bar? You want to go up from here, or do you want to go up from here? And following that, it's just an onslaught in the junior year of things to do to get ready for college. So knowing what's coming next. For example, knowing how to manage your standardized tests, the college admissions exams. I encourage all my students, this may sound excessive, but in this era, it's really not. I encourage everyone to take 6 college entrance exams in their junior year. One a month, 6. One a month, January through June. Almost certainly the January and February ones won't count, but they warm you up, and then you have March, April, May, June. Now, look, if you do well enough, if you get the number you're looking for, game over. But since the ones, they don't have to go to college, they don't necessarily count. So it's experience. I will tell you, everybody goes up. Everybody goes up because
You're
it's
right.
a marathon.
Exactly.
Nobody has to sit and take a 3.5-hour test in school. I've gone through education all the way to the end, a Ph.D. I never had to sit for 3.5 hours and concentrate as hard as I could, and knowing that the stakes were high. Okay, that is an unusual task, especially for a 15, 16, 17-year-old. You need to practice. You could be the best wind sprinter on the track team, but you are not prepared for a marathon until what? You run a marathon.
Practice, practice, practice is always the big tip. All right, stress, anxiety techniques, really
Yes.
quickly here. We're running out of time.
Okay, stress and anxiety techniques. I do a lot with my students of mindfulness-based techniques. We focus on breathing, relaxing, being very aware of our body sensations. So kids typically go into tests, especially standardized tests, and their heart rate goes crazy. They get racy thoughts. Their mind goes blank. So what do, right? And yelling at yourself, calm down, that makes it worse. So you learn these techniques of taking full, deep breaths. I mean, I just took one because I'm nervous here on TV, and I felt my muscles relax.
That's right. All right, everybody just breathe in, breathe out.
Exactly.
Well, Dr. Youmans, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Lots of great advice there for families.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
You're